Posted. All right, we're live at the University of Washington in Seattle. We just got some new equipment. We've got it working all right. So we've got a lapel mic now, which won't be on the live stream, but we have an MP3 player that's recording the lapel. So, yeah, testing some new equipment. And the Gab post is up. Let's go. See if there are any students that are still up. So I've got some volunteer goyim from the greater Seattle area that are helping me hit the campaign trail. It's the first campaign stop in like 3 or 4 weeks. I took a little break in the Bay Area, did a little bit of boating. So, sorry about the hiatus. They've been censoring me pretty bad. They've been deleting all the subreddits. Do we have any viewers yet? Any questions from the audience?
We've got 31 viewers. Let's see here. There's kind of some writing over the screen.
Yeah, that's good. Okay,
It's
so
hard to read these. Yeah, we're getting some comments in here.
yeah, start reading off some of those comments. Let's get rid of that.
All right. Hail Pat. Hail Victory.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, sorry about the hiatus.
People are wondering where you've been.
Yeah, I've been busy. So I was taking care of personal stuff, finances, all that. My company had a lot of business in the Bay Area, but I'm doing a campaign stop now. But I was busy with personal stuff, like making money with my company and stuff. So, you know, I've been very busy. But yeah, I've been traveling around Washington talking to some people. I've got a whole bunch of campaign footage from my last tour of the country. And so we'll be uploading those campaign videos to this campaign account here. I don't think that being a political candidate is going to keep me safe from the ADL censorship at YouTube for very long. So feel free to follow me as I migrate to BitChute as they censor me off the internet. And they're censoring Fitzgerald and some other candidates now. And by the way, I fully endorse Fitzgerald, and he's running for Congress in California. He's fully aware of the Holocaust narrative. He's fully aware of a whole bunch of different stuff, how the Jewish supremacists are destroying the country. So please support Fitzgerald in California. If you volunteered for my campaign, please get over there to Fitzgerald's campaign. He's still fighting for the 2018 race. I've already begun campaigning for the 2020 race. So, yeah, it looks like the ghost town in campus tonight, so I guess let's just treat this as a Q&A session with the University of Washington at Seattle campus is kind of the backdrop for the Q&A session.
Yeah, there's usually a little more traffic up here on top of these stairs.
Thanks. We got any questions?
What do you think of Tulsa? What's going on in Tulsa? I don't know.
Tulsa?
Hail Pat. Are you still with UCAS? No, I'm not UCAS.
She did a leg of the tour with me through San Francisco. She has an obligation on the East Coast, so she had to get back for that. Yeah.
Did the Jews kill General Patton?
Yes, they did. I did a campaign video about that. He even said that he suspected the Jews were plotting against him in some of his letters home. So, wow, this is a beautiful campus, by the way. Let's show them. Yeah.
It is dead right now.
There's nobody out here. We just finished troubleshooting all the new equipment, and what we're going to do is we're going to upload a copy of this video to BitChute later, and we're going to use the audio from the lapel mic. Right now we're using a boom mic for the live stream, but yeah, the live streams from now on are going to have this audio, and the good quality audio with the Sennheiser microphone is going to be on the BitChute. So whatever you see live here will later be with better audio on the BitChute, where the Jews can't remove it, or at least not yet. Pardon. It's been a long day driving around. I've been doing a lot of errands, but we got any questions? Let's do some Q&A with the audience. Let's get this as a backdrop.
It's just moving so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little past 11 out here.
Yeah.
Thoughts on IE and Jesus, moving so quick.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Honestly, you can only see the very bottom one. Does this go away or does that stay there?
Here. So you gotta. Yeah, this is an instruction set.
There
There you go. So you can scroll back up there.
There we go. All right,
So,
guys.
thank you. We've got
Sorry about
volunteers
that.
helping in each of the cities now. If you'd like to volunteer to be a cameraman in a different region of the country for the campaign, I can no longer afford to pay. But if you want to volunteer, and come with me on a leg of the trip to for the campaign, yeah, you can contact onboarding at littlerevolution.us if you'd like to volunteer for the campaign. If you can hit the road with me, if you've taken a break from college this semester, if you're tired of the Judeo-Bolshevik indoctrination, send an email to onboarding at littlerevolution.us and say, I'd like to do some driving and some video recording for Pat on the road, so I don't always have to arrange random goyim to do the camera. The goyim here are doing this out of the goodness of their hearts, and thank you very much, Goyish gentlemen. You're very welcome.
Yeah, no problem.
And yeah.
So how do you respond to shills who call you a Zionist? And real quick, shall we walk towards more people, maybe back over towards the road
sure.
over here? I think our best bet's maybe back over at the main road while we answer these questions.
I don't know the area here, but what Zionists want to send the Jews to Madagascar? I'm a nationally social, democratic American patriot. I'm definitely not a Zionist. And me wanting to strip the terrorist rogue nuclear nation of Israel, occupied Palestine, of the nuclear weapons made from stolen U.S. weapons-grade uranium, if that makes me a Zionist, then I'm a female. Whatever. Sign me up for a surgery. What other questions?
Do Jews chew on foreskin?
Yes, we have video evidence that Jewish rabbis not only perform fellatio on mutilated child baby dicks, but they also give them herpes in the process. There's one rabbi in New York, and I believe this pedophile kike gave like 200 babies herpes. Some of the cases prove fatal. At that young age, herpes can kill a baby.
So this person's getting a little more specific about these Zionist accusations. People think you're a Zionist because you want to deport Jews. How do you
Madagascar.
respond to that?
Now, I want to deport them not only from the United States, but also from occupied Palestine to Madagascar. How does Madagascar fit into Jewish world government, their plots to control every nation? They're going to have a hard time doing that from Madagascar, because I'm going to deploy International Coast Guard around Madagascar, making sure the rats don't leave that island ever. So what I'd like to do is set up like an Interpol that works internationally with all of the countries to make sure that every country the Jews are expelled from, they're not allowed to re-enter. It'll be like a non-proliferation treaty, but with Jews. You're not allowed to proliferate Jews into countries they've been expelled from. And that's for the safety of all peoples, because I believe in the rights of all peoples to self-determination and liberty and justice for all, and that involves removing the Jew from your country.
So did you see Feinstein trying to bring up Kavanaugh's high school past?
Feinstein. I'm disappointed, California. I don't think 4 million of you voted for her in the primary, by the way. There should have been riots when they tried to tell us that Feinstein got 4 million votes, but that's all I'm going to say about Feinstein. 4 million Californians didn't vote for Feinstein in the primary. That's ridiculous.
So someone's wondering if you heard the podcast where Christopher Cantwell mentions you. He says you're running for Republican. Any comments about Cantwell?
I was running as a Republican in California. I was an America First Republican. Now I'm a America First nationally social democratic American patriot. So still putting America first and Israel last. But yeah, I agree with Bernie Sanders on a lot of stuff. Just add the word Jewish to any of Bernie Sanders' complaints about the people who rule this country, and Bernie and I would get along great if he weren't a Jew. Oh, it's beautiful. It's kind of raining. You can see the rain getting a little wet, but that's okay.
So what do you think about Brendan O'Connell?
Who's that?
I'm not sure who that is. No?
Like a YouTuber, he gets into like conspiracies revolving like Israel in the tech sector, like the Talpiot program, etc.
Oh, Talpiot's real. I've talked to some defense contractors from Lockheed Martin and some other defense contractors, and the first thing they learned during operational security training is do not talk to Israelis, and you're not allowed to visit Israel. So yeah, Talpiot's a thing. The Jews are trying to steal all of our national security secrets. Over 90% of the spies against this country during the Cold War were Jews, the largest one of which was Pollard. Make sure not to get any innocent bystanders in the stream that don't want to be in it. Yeah. And, well,
There is someone here at the bus stop. I don't know.
so yeah, let's be careful of that. I don't know if that student wants to be in this. But, yeah, so he... Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
There you go. All right. So, yeah, what was I going to say? We're learning. We you know, in terms of where we're at right now, this would be what you'd call folkstorm, or random people volunteering to help with the campaign. And yeah, if you would like to be a mobile helper with me, take turns driving, holding the mic, helping to edit video, onboarding at littlerevolution.us. You think there are going to be more students this way, or?
That's the main road right there.
And we got any more Q&A? Scroll up, see if we have any good questions there.
Where do you think might be the best place in the world for National Socialism to rise from the ashes?
I don't know about National Socialism. I'm a nationally social democratic American patriot. I mean, that's, if you care about social issues nationally, I think the best place to start with that would be, you know, at the voting booth, regardless of what country you're in.
So, do you think Jews are even human?
Depends on which standards. I've been listening to Dawkins, The Selfish Gene, and I've also I read The 10,000 Year Explosion, and I've based in like a moral sense of like the classical liberal, like Thomas Paine style rights of man and the definition of man and mankind. In terms of being a moral being what makes you human, I'd say no. But in terms of their biology, I would say they're definitely a species of Homo sapien, albeit with the genetics that give them an average predisposition towards being missing that part of the brain that gives you shame, a consciousness, or guilt, or any of the things that really make us human or social animals. And that's why I'm nationally social, because as a non-Jew, as a goy, I have that part of the brain that allows me to feel guilt or shame if I wrong another human being. So that's a part of the brain that most of the Jews are missing. It also is the reason why they have something like 20 times the average rate of schizophrenia compared to other races of man. And I'm psychologically healthy and goyish, so I'm a social being. Jews are not. It's also why I oppose international capitalism, the Jewish 1%, and the Jewish international finance system that's used to rob peoples of their wealth. Oh, good evening, sir. My name's Patrick Little. I'm running for office in 2020. I was wondering if you had a moment.
Sure. Do
Oh.
you mind if I call you back in a bit? Okay. Just as long as I can catch my bus.
Oh, sure, yeah. Let me know when it's coming and I'll let you go. So, are you from Washington area here?
I have been for the past 3 years or so. I'm originally from Idaho.
Idaho. Yeah, I've been through North Idaho recently. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Sorry, can I get your name again?
Patrick Little.
Patrick
I ran
Little.
against Feinstein in California. I was anti-Israeli, and she's a dual citizen of Israel. I'm an America First Democrat.
Okay.
So I don't believe we should cede sovereignty to foreign countries. I also think all the money we're sending to Israel should be spent here at home in the United States. Do you know which country we send more aid to than all the other countries we send aid to combined?
Well, I do know that Israel gets a lot. I don't know if it's the most.
They get more aid than we send to all of the other countries we send aid to combined.
Yeah.
Do you know which country has a higher standard of living, Israel or the United States?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Israel.
Israel, GDP per capita there is higher. Do you think that Russia, Syria, the United States, or Canada currently uses weapons banned by the Geneva Convention against civilians? Specifically phosphorus and landmines.
Well, I know Russia's been having some issues, but
Can you name a weapon that's against the Geneva Convention that
Syria.
they've used?
well, Russia was just caught in that the toxic poisoning. I can't remember the name of that gas, whatever that they
Which
used.
news channel did you see that on?
A lot of news sources. The poisoning of the former agent that was living in the UK. So that was sort of a big thing.
The thing with plutonium or something like that?
Okay, that was before that, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I heard about that all over the news too. Were you aware that Israel's been using white phosphorus, banned by the Geneva Convention against women and children?
I wasn't aware of that.
Well, I'd like to talk about some of the genocide going on against ethnic and religious minorities in occupied Palestine right now and how our tax dollars are being used for a genocide. What I'm about to show you is a shirt that Israeli snipers wear. This is real. I'd ask you to verify this on your own time. It says 1 shot, 2 kills. It's a t-shirt that Israeli snipers wear all around town, Tel Aviv, all over the place. 1 shot, 2 kills. Celebrate shooting pregnant Palestinian women, which are an ethnic and religious minority in Palestine, right? Now, have you seen this on the news?
Not that. No.
What do you see on the shirt there? Do you know what language that is?
Hmm.
It's not Arabic, that's Hebrew. And that's a picture of a pregnant Palestinian woman, most likely Muslim. That's an ethnic and a religious minority. They're talking about shooting her in the womb. Now also they have similar shirts about shooting Palestinian children, like prepubescent kids. Have you heard about this in the news?
No.
Were you aware recently that the people that had been evicted from their land in 1948 returned during Nakba Day trying to cross the Israeli border back to where they were born in occupied Palestine? And that they shot pregnant women in the stomach intentionally and were wearing these shirts. This is a few months ago. Did you see it in the news?
I saw something about some conflict. I don't remember specifics. Usually they don't get into specifics like that, but yeah.
Well, they certainly don't get into those specifics about Israel for reasons I'll get into in a little bit. Can you guess what the Murdoch children who run News Corp, Fox News, Zucker, who runs CNN, or the Otto-Sulzberger family, who control the New York Times, and almost every single newspaper in this country have in common?
I'm gonna guess they take a pro-Israel stance, but
Well, there's a reason for that. They're members of a group that before the Civil War, 40% of this group of people owned African slaves prior to the Civil War. This is according to the 1860 U.S. Census. You want to take a guess what this ethnic group was? 40% of them owned African slaves. The baseline for the average white man in this country, it was 0.08. Or less than 1% of the average of white people in this country owned slaves prior to the Civil War, but 40% of this ethnic group owned slaves before the Civil War, according to the 1860 U.S. Census. Zucker, Otto-Sulzberger, Murdoch's, these news companies, the big news companies, they're all part of the same ethnic group. I'm going to give you another hint. There were 85% of the Soviet government prior to World War II, when a genocide of 30 million was committed against the Christians of Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, and Russia, and Latvia and Lithuania. 30 million killed. Every single Orthodox monk and priest in the Soviet Union was killed. 85% of the congressman, senate equivalent rank of the government, the top tiers of government, were a member of this ethnic group that constituted less than 1% of the overall population of the Soviet Union. I'm going to give you a hint. The source for that fact comes from the Jewish World Encyclopedia from the 1960s.
I think I know what you're getting at, but maybe you should just say it.
Jews were 85% of the government that committed the largest genocide in history at the time against ethnic and religious that was ethnically and religiously motivated. 85% of the pre-World War II government of the USSR, where the largest genocide in history at the time took place, was ethnically Jewish. 40% of Jews in this country in 1860 owned African slaves compared to 0.8% of non-Jewish whites. Pretty crazy, right? I'm quoting the 1860 U.S. Census.
Okay.
Now, I want to list some presidents off for you. Okay. JFK, Abraham Lincoln, Polk, and the attempted assassin of Jackson. Do you want to guess something that these people have in common? And in terms of JFK, it was the person who killed the assassin, not the person who pulled the trigger on JFK. The ethnicity of the people that tried to or succeeded in killing all these presidents was?
I don't know.
Did you know John Wilkes Booth was a Jew? Do you know
no.
what Abraham was doing in 1865? He was doing away with the United States Bank at the time, which was a Rothschild bank. Did you know John Wilkes Booth was an English Jew? Did you know the men who tried to kill Andrew Jackson when he did away with the Federal Reserve at the time were Jewish?
I mean, you can always cherry pick to find people of certain ethnic groups that did something bad. I guess what you're trying to get at is that the Jewish ethnic group has caused more harm to other people than other ethnic groups.
I'm saying that
Is
you didn't know any of these facts about Jewish crimes against humanity that I've described to you prior to me saying them
I
to you.
wouldn't necessarily consider them being Jewish as being relevant information, I suppose.
85% of the government of Russia
So
was
that's my
ethnically
bus, by the
Jewish
way.
at the time of the largest genocide in history. At the time. Now, would you say that 30 million is larger than 6 million?
Sure, 30 million is larger than 6 million.
That's an a priori truth. It's inherently true. Now, how many times did you hear about the 85%
All right.
Jewish government that committed this genocide?
I'm sorry, I gotta
Well, it
go.
was nice talking to you. Vote
nice.
little and win big in 2020. I'm running
Okay.
as an America First Democrat.
All right.
And remember, I can quote you all these sources that are Jews. Have a good one, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we're going to show the American people how the fact that all of these Jewish crimes against humanity were indeed Jewish. That's a relevant fact here. I mean, you can't be almost all of the members of a government that commits the largest genocide in history at the time, and that can't be ignored as a non-pertinent fact. Yeah. Well, it's getting pretty late here. Do we want to do some more Q&A? I mean, that's the only student we've run into other than that guy earlier since, well, we started filming.
Yeah.
Is there any more Q&A
You guys
going
got
on
any
here?
questions?
We're going to be in the Seattle, Washington area for a few hours tomorrow morning. I'll be in Spokane, Washington tomorrow evening, and I may or may not be in Idaho in a few days. So hit me up if you're in the tri-state area, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, and I'll be making my way to the Midwest doing some campaign stops. I have some personal business nationally that I'll be doing around the country, and I'll make some campaign stops along the way. And don't forget to follow me on Gab, Patrick_Little. The Jews have committed FEC violations by discriminating against a political candidate by kicking me, as well as others like Paul Nehlen in the past, off from Twitter. So, yeah, Paul Nehlen and I have that lawsuit that we filed with the FEC against the Jews who have been running the censorship at Twitter. So follow me on Gab, the free speech alternative to the ADL-controlled platform known as Twitter. And if you want to know the history of the ADL and how the ADL, which controls censorship on the internet, was formed to defend pedophile Jews from public scrutiny, look up The Murder of Little Mary Fagan, as narrated in a free MP3 audiobook online by Alex Linder. Look up the MP3, The Murder of Little Mary Fagan, and how the ADL was established to protect Jews from pedophilia charges. And you can learn how the good people of the state of Georgia had to lynch the Jew that raped and murdered little Mary Fagan because the Jews, just like now, controlled then the judiciary system and got this Jew off. And well, the people had to wind up hanging this Jew. And the ADL was formed in response to the Jews constantly getting away with crimes against their Goyish people that they see as their cattle that are there for the fleecing. So the Murder of Little Mary Fagan is your homework assignment. Go ahead and read that book. There's a free MP3 audiobook called The Murder of Little Mary Fagan, as narrated by Alex Linder. You'll learn all about how the Jews formed the ADL to shield themselves from any type of charges resulting from their pedophilia. The ADL was designed to protect pedophiles, just like NAMBLA. Don't trust Jews. With Jews, you lose. Vote little, win big in 2020. Have a good one.